Thank you, Last Cathaoirleach, and I did say to the Cathaoirleach informally earlier that nothing could be more apt than that you, who have been so courageous and eloquent in your own testimony, should chair this session. I also want to welcome the Minister, whom I believe and know, and I've sat there listening to him a lot of days, know is patently sincere and committed to doing the right thing. And I think two parallel approaches are needed to the Commission report. Number one, we must remember, we must acknowledge, we must apportion and accept blame. Number two, we must give access to family history and all data, all information, birth certificates, medical histories, the lot. We must give payment and redress, retribution, and that cannot be miserly, and I would like colleagues say to the Minister, make that generous, make that easy to get. We owe these people no less, and we did such wrongs that now is a chance to do the wholesome and right thing. Free counselling should be available, medical cards should be available, appropriate housing in appropriate locations if that involves transfers. In other words, these people should have a holistic response. Turning to number one, back to my first response to the Commission report that's required. This involves remembering. We must not write the wrongs out of history. It is clear from the personal testimonies in the report that the treatment of mothers and babies in mother and baby homes was barbaric, was cruel, was sadistic and was inhuman. It is as much part of our history as the glorious and the glamorous, and let's make no attempt to fudge that. The remembering should be in the proper burial of the up to 9,000 babies who died. I'm not saying they're not all improperly buried, but most are. That should happen. This should mean the development of a proper remembrance centre, as is mooted in Sean McDermott Street, and elsewhere, commemorative plaques, commemorative ceremonies in each local authority area, and generally a state acknowledgement. Support for students who do research in this area, support for any centres that remembers this, and any people writing about it, recalling it, supporting this. I think we have to be generous and imaginative here, and I'd ask the Minister to look at all that whole area of remembrance. It's important for us to remember too, in that it has a civilising effect on people to remember what was wrong in the past. The acknowledgement must come from the religious, and it did from the Bon Secours sisters, and that must be built on. And indeed, Eamon Martin's apology, Archbishop Eamon Martin's apology, is welcome in this context. But the acknowledgement must come from state employees also, who either in a county home or by cooperating with the incarceration have a guilt. The acknowledgement must also come from our people, from the political class. We didn't do enough about it either. The acknowledgement of the wrong must come from all of us who lived through that time when respectability, property ownership, misogyny ranked much more highly than the welfare of the abandoned mothers and babies. I feel personally ashamed to say that I lived through that period, and that we allowed all this to happen, if you like, to paraphrase President Reagan, on our watch. Much criticism has arisen from the survivors and political leaders, led indeed by our colleagues, the Leader of the House, the Senate here, Senator Regina Doherty, in relation to the language of the report, the tenor of the report, and the way they dealt with it. I think it is a pity that legalese was allowed to replace plain speaking. The legalese could have been an appendix or a footnote. In a legal sense, it is stated that mothers were not forced into homes. Of course, they were not arrested on foot of a court order, but their expulsion from the family home and the lack of any other state support gave them only two choices: abortion or enter the penal mother and baby homes. Similarly, in legal terms, the report can confirm that again mothers were not forced to have children adopted, but where was the choice? Again, they had no choice. The mother was alone, defenceless, without resources and under pressure from all sides to adopt. Only semantics can remove force from this. Needless to say, there are people, religious and lay, who did the right thing, acting in a humane way, they can quietly and privately take a bow, and should. But that does not mean that we can distract from those who've done the wrong thing, to vulnerable babies and their mothers. We should openly admit that a wrong was done and needs righting. And the process is just starting now, and as I have the couple of seconds to finish, I see it as I said at the outset, a two-pronged approach, Minister, that we're remembering, we're acknowledging in a very public, holistic, proper way. We're even allowing further testimony, we're doing all of that. And secondly, we are compensating in a generous, holistic, unmiserly and undifficult to access. These people experienced enough hardship as vulnerable people. It's time they were the recipients of kindness from the state. Thank you.